Hey everyone, my name is Josh Hale. I am the creative director of Chog Media. I've helped kind of form this company with my business partner Austin and some awesome friends of ours like Anthony Berneche and Ryan Owens. At the very source of what we do, Chog Media is a community of people who like creating things, whether that's movies or short form like YouTube videos or skits or just kind of like plays, whatever. We like to create things and build a community around it. That's kind of at our core what we're about. So yeah. I wouldn't call it cinematography. I've been doing video work for about 5 years now. I started doing photography, and then just as I kept doing that, the video world kind of just kept creeping in until it got to the point where in 2017 or 2018, I got approached by Austin Scarborough about doing Remember the Light. He just kind of knew I shot videos for people. He knew I kind of like helped do like commercials for some businesses, and he was like, "Hey, I know you. Could you help me do this short film?" And I was like, "I've never done one of those, but I would love to try." And that's kind of where we started things. It's just something I've always been attracted to. I think there's so much power in storytelling. There's so much, like, it's so much more dynamic than a written form of art. So of course, with that being said, like, I may not be a good writer or something like that, but the video side is what kind of really attracted to me. Like, oh, this is what I can contribute to this medium. This, this is something I can contribute. This is something I can help out with, and it's just attractive. It's so cool to like build. I mean, you're bridging technology with something that is as cool as cameras and stuff like that. I think it's cool that those are connected. Yeah, so it's a director of photography is a very fancy word for what it is. It's really at the end of the day, you're the manager or really the babysitter of your set. You're the guy who has to figure out what camera you're going to buy. You're the guy who has to figure out what lens the director wants to use. You're the guy who has to tell, you're working with an assistant director or director to tell, like, hey, we need lighting done this way. We need everything done this way. You're the bridge or the main communicator between what the director wants, and you're the technical communicator of what the crew needs to do. That's, at the end of the day, that's what you're doing. It sounds like a lot, but trust me, it's so fun to do. I think more people should definitely give that a shot. It can depend on the preparation and what we're working on. Some days it's a pretty simple shoot, so it's just two characters talking to each other, and maybe that could be at a set that we have a lot of access to, and that's pretty simple. If it's something that, like a set that we're renting or something that we have a limited time to work with, then we're going to do a lot more preparation, and my mind is going to be way more on the actors and what they're doing, and less on my crew. If I have a lot of time, I can get to focus on my crew a bit more, and just by that I mean just blocking and really simple things, just like, can I walk through the set and kind of picture in my head where all the lights are going to go, where the camera's going to go, and what the shots are going to look like? Because my mindset isn't what I'm shooting today. It's how is this going to look 6 months from now in an editing room, and how can I avoid a lot of headache that happens in an editing room? So it's just really, you're constantly thinking about the future. I think there's a mix between, your more practical types of film directors, like you'd have like a David Fincher, or like a Wes Anderson, or someone who's just, I know it's like the stereotypical one to say, but someone like that has so much style in what they do. Then you can also think about, in terms of social media influencers, like a Casey Neistat or someone like that, who just their vision and what they can do, even though they're telling it in a short form, is something that's so impactful. And those are two examples of people who use technology in a way, almost like a DP mindset, but they bridge it with, they bridge technology and story so beautifully, in my opinion. So that's someone I appreciate, someone who can really communicate technology to the director's level. So yeah. This one was a lot of fun. This one, it really felt like I think a lot of people who've had experiences working on short films kind of know, like, they go, it's stressful. It's like, hey, does your friend's cousin want to be a part of this day? We desperately need someone to help out. This one was like literally since me and Jacob Webster came up with the idea for New South Cottage, and then we handed the script to Austin Scarborough, and he kind of really finished it and formed the story to what it was today. But really, ever since that first day, me and him were sitting inside the cottage, and we're just kind of brainstorming, like, man, this is such a awesome venue. This is something like we walked into it and was like, this is a movie set right here. And so, coming from that one experience, all these doors just opened of like, hey, I would love to be a part of this project. Hey, this is a boxing ring you could rent. This is this thing you could rent. And everything we approach with Chog Media is really budget friendly. Like, we're not dumping, hundreds of millions of dollars into our productions. We're just a bunch of teenagers and college kids and young adults just kind of working with the equipment that we have, but using the knowledge that we know to create a quality and good product and tell a good story. So I would say the process of New South Cottage has been awesome because it's just been so, like, there's just been so much opportunity, and it's been really kind of like everyone wants to work on it, which is such a cool difference than, like, you're like having to beg people like, hey, please, help out with my short film. So it's a cool transition to see. The mission of Chog Media has and will always be about inspiring and cultivating a community of people. Specifically in our area within Birmingham, we want to be an environment where someone who is in high school or college can have a place that they can hang out at, and they can learn what they wouldn't learn at a film school. They can learn how to form communities and groups where they can tell short stories. They can make productions. They can work with people who know things that they might not know. Like if I don't know audio, well, that's awesome. I have someone like Noah who's also in the company, and I can learn what I can learn off of him. So that's kind of why I think why I have a cool spot is I know a very tiny amount of everything in terms of like production, but I get to kind of bring in these experts and say, hey, can you teach this guy? Can you teach this guy this thing? I don't know anything about music, but I'm fortunate that within the company that we've built, that we have some amazing people who make music with us, and that's just such an honor. So at the end of the day, we're a community of talented people who love to just build things up and work with each other and bring people in, and just so we can create something awesome together. That's what we're about. A lot of it wasn't like, we were really lucky this time to not have like any difficult actors or anyone to work with. The hard part was moving this piano. In the movie, you have this giant like piano that the actors they're using. It's kind of a set piece in the story. So we had to keep moving it from location to location. That was pretty stressful. Like, you're done tearing all your equipment down, and you're like, hey, we have to load up this 700-pound piano in a truck. But that was still fun though. Like, you still have, like, I have a video of Ryan playing the piano going up an escalator, or an elevator. So that was a lot of fun. Yeah. And definitely the most labor intensive one was the day that we had to, so all the boxing in the movie, the boxing is a huge aspect of this movie. We filmed those scenes in pretty much one day. Yeah, we just did one big day where we just were like, we're going to get everything out of the way, film it all right now. And so we had this boxing ring rental, and we had to, from the ground up, build the boxing ring in this gym that we had. And it was a lot. I mean, it wasn't hard. It was just a lot of work. It was very physically demanding, and then, but it looked great. It looked great in the movie. It was awesome. So. Yeah. So talking about, it's kind of interesting. I feel like we're in this in between short film or indie film, and then big budget, because definitely have a lot of the big budget concerns that we have to, or problems that we have to deal with. And that being, what that would translate to is like, you know, this camera that we're using, it shoots in 6K, and then it formats down to whatever cinematic aspect ratio you'd want to make it look pretty, but you're still shooting something that it is destroying every computer we would ever work on. So editing has always been, I love editing, but I also hate it at the same time, because when it doesn't work, it doesn't work. And it's not the most attractive thing to talk about, but I do love, like, with what my job is as a creative director is I get to oversee all the projects we get to work on. And so from the very start of, hey, I have this idea that we should make, or we should write this thing, to, you know, I get to see that idea being born, and then we get to film it. And I'm also at the very end of it, and we've already cut all of our actors. They're done. They're working on other things or other productions, and I get to see the editing process. And the editing process is such a cool part of it. That's one of my favorite parts, honestly. It can be a big headache, but it's also so cool when you're in that room and someone goes, hey, this shot you should take, or this is a great idea. This really adds to the story, and it's like, yes, I would have never thought about that. There's a lot of cool stuff about that. But anyway, guys, thank you guys for watching this. This is, you know, you can find our movie, New South Cottage, on any of our social media pages, whether it's Facebook or Instagram or YouTube. We have a big premiere coming out for our movie. It's going to be at the Leeds Arts Council in Leeds, Alabama. You can find information about that on our social media pages. There's going to be a link in our bio that'll take you to that, where you can purchase that ticket, or you can just come in person and purchase your ticket there. It's going to be a lot of fun. This is a movie that I'm very proud of to have made, to have had the opportunity to work with these awesome people. So please go check out this movie. Anyway, thank you guys.